Hi, my name is Hannah Path, and I am part of the MCSEEP program, the McHenry County Schools Environmental Education Program. And I'm here today at Stearns Woods and Fen. It is a Crystal Lake Park District area of land. In 1994, it was proclaimed an Illinois nature preserve to protect the land. We're going to talk a little bit today about why it's so special. So Stearns Woods and Fen is 185 acres. What you see behind me is a fen. A fen is a low, marshy area where water from the ground either seeps up from the ground or out of a slope in the land. Here at Stearns Woods and Fen, there are 30 acres of graminoid fen, which there are only 175 acres of that remaining in Illinois, protected and healthy. So 30 of that is right here. Now, what makes it a graminoid fen is that the water, when it seeps out, is very rich in calcium and minerals that the plants thrive on, and it makes it very nutrient rich. So here we are farther down the trail, and I wanted to show you here where this calcareous water is trickling to a lower elevation and all the plants that are thriving in these conditions. And I want to explain one of the defining characteristics of a fen is the peat moss, the existence and presence of peat moss. And peat is a soil-like material. It's the decaying plants, but because they're in this anaerobic condition where they're in very wet conditions, possibly cut off from oxygen, and this very calcium rich water, they decay slower. So what is left behind is a soil-like material of decayed plants, and that is peat moss or peat. Here we are at a higher point of the fen with the woods and the higher elevation behind us, and I wanted to explain the restoration project that's been going on here at Stearns Woods for a couple years. When the invasive buckthorn and honeysuckle plants came in, they were absorbing a lot of the water that is so quintessential. Oh, there's a deer down there. See if he comes out. So quintessential of this graminoid fen. So they have been working very hard through a grant with the environmental defenders of McHenry County to remove non-native species and invasive species. Let's see if I can get it on that deer. So I mentioned earlier the 2.9 miles of mulched pathway, but within the woods is a bunch of what's called single track paths, and that's for runners and mountain bikers and hikers alike to get into the woods. And this, my friends, is my favorite place. As you can see, it's just full of wonder and discovery. The leaves are starting to change colors. The biodiversity is abundant. Here we have snake root is blooming right now. And I want to explain something called ecosystem services. That is, by definition, the benefits that humans are gifted from places like this that are allowed and protected to remain wild and to thrive. So some of the ecosystem services that places like this give are places of quiet and retreat to wonder, for biodiversity to exist, so for plants and animals to have a habitat. One of the really important things about Stearns Woods, one of the greatest ecosystem services, if I may, is that fens are one of, if not the most efficient carbon sinks on our planet. And what that means is the ecosystem that is a fen in a wetland absorbs the carbon dioxide from the air. What we breathe out, and the main contributor to climate change and global warming and the heating of our planet is that there's too much carbon dioxide in the air. Well, as the plants absorb that carbon dioxide, they store it and then they return it back to the ground. It's called carbon sequestration. And fens are really powerful at that because of that slow decay that I talked about with the plant life. It stores that carbon for a really long time in the peat. So, ecosystem services are benefits that humans get from the existence of places like this, places like Stearns Woods and Fen. And yet another important ecosystem service that areas like Stearns, Fens, and Wood provide is the recharging of water. So all the water that there is on our planet is all there ever was and all there ever will be. So if we fill all our land with spaces like ballparks and houses, grocery stores and clothing stores, the water will have nowhere to hang out and get cleaned. And in places like Stearns Woods, the plant life and the soil and the rocks below it clean our rainwater and recharge it and refill our aquifers, the water under the ground. So as we leave, I hope you found something that was inspiring to you, inspiring to get you out into nature and get into places like Stearns Woods and Fen, where you can explore nature and learn about it with all the signs that are posted and maybe a little investigation on your own part. We'll leave some fun links at the end of the video, and yeah, this is my favorite.